Welcome to the CNBC Africa special, where we put a spotlight on consulting and tax services provider Andersen. 4 years after its Nigerian debut, consulting and tax firm Andersen is looking to expand its value proposition in the African market with the addition of business advisory to its services. Olayeye Adebiyi, managing partner at Andersen, takes us through the journey so far. Olayeye, thank you for joining us today. I'd like us to start by you just telling us a little bit about Arthur Andersen.
Morning, Esther. Thanks for having me on this program. Arthur Andersen is a firm founded in 1918. Went international in about 1947, and then before its implosion in 2002, it was in about 131 countries. And in most countries where it was operating at that time, it was number one in most markets. I mean, Arthur Andersen was known for its quality service to the clients and the kind of treatment it gives staff, the top quality service treatment it gives staff in terms of training and personal development. So, I said the two things that made Arthur Andersen different in those days was client first and employee ness and also well treated. So for most of us in those days who joined Arthur Andersen, it was one is straight from university, you go abroad for training, and that was for most of us it was the first trip abroad for most of us. As you are hired, you will firm help you with your passport, get you a visa, then you go abroad. You either go to Geneva or Segovia in Spain, or you go to Eindhoven or in Netherlands, or St. Charles, close to Chicago in the US. So, and for people in their early 20s, this also be quality time. So this enable staff to be able to mix with the people from other countries and form a life-changing partnership with colleagues from other countries at that time. Most of the people I see as friends today, whether from far away as Australia or Singapore or China or UK, US, I met them in my days in Arthur Andersen, where we met in several training fora, and that was how everybody gets treated in Andersen. The employees are treated very well. So the next thing is also about the clients. Andersen also call it client first. The motto that time was called exit, which is exceeding client expectations every day. So there is no solution or there is no problem that Andersen will not find a solution to for clients at any time. So I think in those days, when you have any problem, people always ask you, have you been to Andersen? Have you been to Arthur Andersen? They will solve your problem for you. And through to time, people come to us about their problem. The firm makes sure we provide a solution to the client, and the client is happy. We are more expensive than the other firms, yeah, truly, but because we provide better quality service to the client. And in Nigeria, Arthur Andersen was number one by far. There was no comparison. The number two was so far behind at that point that people would never leave Arthur Andersen and join any of the other before in those days. Not possible. People just go straight and join and go to the industry because there was no comparison. So it's also kind of dictated so that the culture or the firm then, which was imbibed in the staff, is so high quality that I'm at the point of implosion in 2002 when the staff joined other firms. They miss that culture. I mean, today, if you meet any ex-Andersen anywhere in the world, there's that common culture you can relate to. I mean, people talk about their days in Andersen, their visits to St. Charles, our training center close to Chicago, and other training center in the world. I mean, Andersen makes sure you are regarded as the best in the industry. So, I mean, in the market, the only thing they've been planning in our head is that we are the best. I mean, the staff, I mean, for you to work here means you are the best in the market. So, and people say we were arrogant at that point. Yeah, people and Andersen staff were arrogant, but for a reason, because we provided the quality to the client. So, which is why I say when people leave Andersen and join other firm, for example, when at the point of implosion in 2002, when the staff joined other firms, whether in Nigeria or other countries, they found that it means the Andersen culture. So for me, I also I I I I migrated to one of the farm Andersen became in 2002. I mean, when we all joined that farm, the culture for me was a different in culture between Andersen and um and the new farm. So I left and joined a law firm, still searching for the Andersen I left behind. I never found it. So which made me set up my own practice in 2005, telling myself I was going to run it like the way Andersen was run when it was before implosion. So that was in a nutshell Andersen for you. And Andersen was the best in the market, and people regarded as such, whether by client or talents, and so the same Andersen then is what we brought back to Nigeria 4 years ago. So and the same name Andersen was bearing just shortly with as implosion. That's why we're changing the name to Andersen, which is that's the story.
Okay, let's talk about the name change. Why is it significant? And also the timing, is there also any significance to that?
The name change, I think what happens is actually a global thing. When Andersen came back in 2013 and beginning of 2014, the key thing so that people won't confuse, keep on referring to the Aaron debacle. So actually the name we have adopted at that time should simply be Andersen or Arthur Andersen. But we didn't want people to be thinking, oh, now they are back. What happened that time was Aaron. People keep on remembering Aaron. Everybody forget that the Supreme Court of the United States ruled in 2005 and said and Andersen was not guilty of the offense for which the license was withdrawn. So it was the firm was absolved of any wrongdoing about Aaron. But people forget that. So because of that, so Andersen said, we're not going to ever do all this. So let's just adopt the name Andersen Tax. But along the line, we found out we'll do more than tax. So globally, we just believe it's now the time to rebrand as Andersen, to show that we are more than tax. We do consulting work, we do valuation, we do family wealth advice for the high network individual, and so much more. So it's a deliberate effort. So for us to take 4 years in the market in Nigeria, it's time for market to know that we do more than tax. But we're not going to do all this. We can render more services to our clients better than tax, which is why it's having made a name for ourselves in the market for 4 years. We thought it's the time for Andersen to have this change. It's not only Nigeria, the whole of Africa and the whole of Europe has done it, Middle East has done it, US has done it. So the Canada will do it, change the name in March, so to simply Andersen from Andersen Tax. So globally, it's a rollout as we thought it's time has come for us to adopt the name Andersen in Nigeria. Yeah.
You know, as managing partner Andersen Nigeria and co-chairman African Regional Board Andersen Global, what difference do you think this name change will bring to the Nigerian and the African market as a whole?
Thank you so much. Good question. As I mentioned to you before, we try to highlight the various services we offer to the market more than tax. So the changes we are envisaging that people will start seeing us differently. I was at a meeting yesterday and they were trying to have a meeting with a high network individual about his family wealth planning. And when I mentioned I'm from Andersen Tax, oh, so I don't want tax. They know we're not discussing tax today. We're discussing about your family wealth planning. So, which is the advantage the other big four has so far, because none of them has tax attached to their name. They're able to, to make proposition to clients better than we could do. I also remember there was a time we sent a proposal to a firm on the consulting arrangement, and the first thing the company said, "Oh, well, I thought you only do tax." I said, "No, we do more than tax." So, boss, I only knew you as a tax advisor. So the name change not only in Nigeria but other part of Africa is to make sure that clients see us to be able to provide better services than tax. I will do this at same quality or better quality than like the big four at a fraction of their price. So for us, we just thought we need to also remove the restrictions the people have in their mind about the kind of service we can offer to them. That was why I thought it's important for not only Nigeria but globally to change the name of Andersen, and not only about the services, but also to also reinforce the fact that this is the old Arthur Andersen that is back in the market. Andersen was the Andersen was bearing shortly before closure.
Okay, now, but to what would you attribute the fast rising of the Andersen brand in Africa?
Oh, thank you. I think the world is becoming smaller. It's a global village. So most of the country will go to. I mean, and what would tell them that where do you see the world in 5 years? So it was easy for people to be able to envisage the world beyond now. That the globalization is going to happen. And because of that, when we talk to the firm who are going to become member of the firm, they quickly see it and agree with our view, and we see the vision. So most of the time, we interview like 4 or 5 firms in the country before we go with the one we are going to sign agreement with. And what we usually find is we sign agreement with those that share our vision or what the future looks like. So right now we're in 45 countries in Africa. We're actually the largest professional service firm in the continent as of today. And the reason for that, because people can see what we bring to the table about our global view of things. And we are a one firm, we're not franchises. We don't have franchise all over. But once you become a member firm in Andersen, you are you are part of the one global firm, not a non-franchise like the other service provider in the country. So the fast rising expansion we've gone through is because people just believe in our own vision of the world, and we share the vision with them. They tap into it. Right now, as of yesterday, Andersen is now in 132 countries in the world, and about 269 locations. Because in Africa, we have about 53 locations in Africa, 45 countries. So the fast rising expansion, like as I mentioned to you, is due to the view people buying into the view we share about globalization. So in recent time, we've seen that even the Nigerian companies are expanding to Africa. Not one, not two, not three companies where we advised in the last 1 year, where we also advise them on their operation in about 23 countries in Africa, or 18 countries in Africa, or 15 countries in Africa. We just submitted a proposal to British Council about giving their advice in 16 countries in Africa, where we have operation in those countries. So that's the vast, like I said, globalization is here, and the world is opening up to everywhere. Yeah.
That was Olayeye Adebiyi, managing partner at Andersen, taking us through the firm's journey in Africa. After the break, we'll get into further details on the new services to expect from Andersen. Stick around. Thanks for staying with us. Welcome back to the CNBC Africa special. Now, with many landmark transactions executed over the years, consultant and tax firm Andersen is looking to expand their value proposition on the African continent. Josh Bamfo, partner and head of transfer pricing services at Andersen, tells us what to expect. Josh, thank you for joining us today. Let's get right to it. But I'd like us to just start with you just walking us through your journey so far with the brand Andersen.
Thank you very much for having me. My journey actually started, 3.5 years ago when I joined Andersen. But to put in proper perspective, I'll go back to the genesis of it all. 8 years ago, I was practicing transfer pricing with a big four firm in the US when I made a big decision, which was pretty unconventional at the time, to relocate to Africa, specifically to Nigeria to help with the development of that particular discipline. My dream then was to be with another Big Four firm and to develop this practice. Little did I know I was going to have the opportunity of being part of the founding partners with a responsibility to revive the iconic brand, Andersen. So 3.5 years ago, that journey started, and our journey was guided by two key principles. The first was clarity of vision by our leader, Mr. Olayeye Adebiyi. And that vision clearly was to build a premier brand that provided best-in-class services to our clients. And that was pretty clear to us. And we've been able to actually do that throughout the 3.5 years that we've been in the Nigerian market. The second was how were we going to go about doing it? And that was guided by our core values. And we have 5 core values that has guided us throughout this journey. The first is to provide best-in-class services to our clients, and that aligns clearly with our vision. And we've been able to do that in terms of our thought leadership, and most importantly, in terms of the kind of services we provide our clients. Secondly, we needed to make sure that we imbibe our core value of stewardship, which meant recruiting the best people and investing in their development so that they can provide those best-in-class services that we envision ourselves to achieve. And we've been doing a lot of that throughout this 3.5 years journey. The third, is the core value of transparency, where we believe that accountability should be a culture that needs to be imbibed. Through that transparent process, we've been able to create a culture of inclusiveness. Whenever we are making decisions in terms of policies, staff through the partners play a significant role in an inclusive manner to come up with those policies so that they can own the process. And that has served us well. Fourthly, we've been very clear about the fact that in reviving this brand, we are not going to be providing audit services. This is because we want to leave our core value of independence. Without any conflict of interest, we are able to be great advocates for our clients. This is not something our competitors, the Big Four firms that provide audit services, can easily do. And finally, we believe that we need to be seamless in terms of our provision of services across jurisdictions, so that as one firm, we're able to provide multiple services across jurisdictions to our multinational enterprise clients. So this has been my journey so far, playing, my small role in making sure that we've been able to develop, a premier brand that provides best-in-class services to our clients. And I think we've been successful so far.
Now, as you know, the market in which the company operates is quite a competitive one. But since the re-entry of Andersen into the Nigerian market, what would you say makes the brand stand out from the others?
Yeah, I fully agree with the assessment that it's a highly competitive market. In fact, when we started this journey 3.5 years ago, I quite remember, some of my partners in my former firm asked me this simple question: which space are you guys going to play? Where are you going to build your niche? There were a lot of doubts because it's highly competitive. Once again, I go back to, the clarity of vision. As we said, we entered into this market with a simple vision of building a premier brand that provides excellent, best-in-class services to our clients. And that was a guiding principle for us. And we've also talked about the core values that have guided us throughout that process. So when we came in strategically, the idea was, first and foremost, we're going to be, the alternative to the Big Four firms, which means that we had to be a premium brand in line with our vision. To do that, we needed to attract the best people who used to work with the Big Four firms. And so first thing, our managing partner made sure that we had one of the best addresses in the market. So we started, our office was in Heritage Place, one of the best addresses you can find in Lagos, Ikoyi, to basically consolidate our position as a premium brand and attracted the best people in the market. That enabled us to actually provide best-in-class services in terms of the technical soundness of that particular service that we provided. That made us comparable to the Big Four firms, but that wasn't a major source of differentiation. So we needed to find ways to differentiate ourselves from the Big Four firms beyond providing technically sound advice to our clients. And we've been able to differentiate ourselves in two areas. The first is the experience that our clients get when we do provide services to them. And that experience involves, having partners through to staff roll their sleeves and work closely with our clients to give them a lasting impression of the quality of our services beyond a particular engagement. And this has enabled us to be able to achieve repeat businesses and build long-lasting, enduring relationships with our clients. We believe that that might not be an area of strength for the big four firms because of their size. Because we are much leaner, we are more nimble, we're able to create that experience that is long-lasting. Secondly, we brought in people with diverse backgrounds because we recognize that it's not good enough to provide technically sound advice, but they need to be also reasonable in terms of their practical application. So to do that, we brought in leaders who had diverse experiences beyond consulting. So for example, if you go to our oil, gas, and power service line, it's led by, Deepa Mai, who, in addition to being an ex at Andersen and having significant consulting experience, did work in the industry with ADAX Petroleum, and he brings that industry experience to bear. The same can be said if you go to our commercial practice, group. We have Yemi Adebiyi, who is an ex, Big Four consultant. However, he also worked with one of the largest FMCG, firms in the country, that's with flour mills, and he brings that industry experience to bear. The same can be said if you go to our tax advisory and regulatory services, where one of our partners, Michael Ango, has significant experience both with Big Four in the industry and also having spent some time on secondment with one of the major regulatory bodies that we work with, which is the FRS. So he brings that diverse experience when it comes to providing, very practicable, solutions to our clients. In my case, last but not the least, when it comes to transfer pricing, it's international taxation and experience from more matured markets that have had transfer pricing in the past, is very helpful. And my experience having practiced in the US, South Africa, and now in Nigeria is a source of differentiation in my space. So this has been the way we've been able to differentiate ourselves compared to the big four firms in providing technically sound, advice that they would provide. But in addition to that, giving our clients that intimate, personal touch type of service that are very practical and sound. And that has helped us significantly. Last but not the least is the fact that, as I said, we don't provide audit services. So we don't have any conflict of interest, when it comes to being advocates for our clients. So we're able to help our clients in diverse ways in order for them to achieve their objectives. And that has helped us significantly in placing us as the alternative to the big four firms and way above the other competitors within the market.
Now, Josh, I know you've given us a good overview of what the company now does, but I would like you to be a little bit more specific. Now, I imagine that with the name change, that has also come with some perhaps specific service offerings now to potential clients also. Could you specifically just point to those, so if the answer is yes, just point to those new service offerings?
Thank you very much. We've been able to expand our service offerings since we started 3.5 years ago. As we said, in order to align with the global strategy, it was important that we started with tax and regulatory services because we needed to let the public know that, we are more focused on tax and regulatory services and other services and not audit, hence the name Andersen Tax from the onset. But over time, we recognized that we were so successful in the provision of tax and regulatory services that we can leverage that success and enter into other areas of professional services with the exception of audit. To do that, one area that we entered into, but we couldn't do it ourselves, was the legal space. So we have a sister firm called TNP, which is a member of the Andersen Global Network of Firms that provides legal services, but that's a separate entity altogether. However, in terms of our firm, what we've been doing recently has been to start providing business advisory services. As a matter of fact, we brought in a partner to lead that particular division, Latif Serakatu. is an ex, Big Four, consultant. He has come in and he's already started developing, that division of our business. So the name change is apt and timely because today in the business advisory division, we provide accounting services, we do provide risk and consulting services, we do provide financial advisory services, and we also do provide technology advisory services. So these are some of the specific areas that we've already started, services that we've already started providing that we believe that the name change is going to really help us. Because the truth of the matter is sometimes when Latif goes out, to develop business, some of the questions he used to be faced with was, we thought Andersen Tax is predominantly or exclusively involved in the provision of tax and regulatory services. This is not going to be a problem going forward with a name change to Andersen, because now we can provide a suite of professional services with the sole exception of audit services.
That was Josh Bamfo, partner and head of transfer pricing services at Andersen. Well, thanks for tuning into this CNBC Africa special. A big thanks to our guests today. For myself and the team, it's bye for now.